The first use case you think about blockchain is payments, right? So that's the first thing you want to do is show that you can secure a payment mechanism just like Visa, MasterCard, but much more secure, without middlemen, take away the fees, offers economies of scale. So the more people use it, the cheaper it gets. The way we view the future of value in the long term, 3 to 5 to 10 years, we view layer 1 blockchains will essentially become like the new republics. These will be the new mechanisms where all the value is going to proliferate to. The future, there'll be the layer 1 blockchain, there will be the mining market, there'll be the dApps, and there'll be tokens. So the lower you get in the stack, the lower risk you have, but the lower rewards. The highest risk reward will be on the layer 1 blockchain, because that's where all the value will flow up. But it's highest value, highest risk. We view layer 1 blockchains, which is Bitcoin, Syscoin, Ethereum, as court systems. They need to be combative to the external forces that we don't control, even in the software world. In the real world, like inflation, hyperinflation, wars, these systems need to be secure from that. And this is why we view Bitcoin as the gold standard for security and decentralization. What else does the world need? What else does the world cherish when you have something like Bitcoin? How can we extend that to something else where we can take advantage to build real world utility? This is where Ethereum comes in. For me, Ethereum is a gold standard for flexibility or general computation. We're trying to stick to the gold standards we know the world's going to cherish and develop on, and we put those two concepts together. And this is what Syscoin is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. In case you're not familiar, I am
that Hotep Jesus do. That Hotep Jesus do. That Hotep Jesus do.
What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? We have a wonderful interview lined up for today. Shout out to my sponsor, Syscoin, the best of Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you're a tech geek and you're looking to build on the blockchain with the best technology out there as far as blockchain is concerned, you got to take a look at Syscoin. Sign up right now, hotepjesus.com. Hit the Syscoin logo. It's going to take you to a form. You're going to fill out that form, and the Syscoin team will get right back to you. The great news is they're incentivized to help you out because when you do good, they do good. So you're going to expect to get support from them. And at Syscoin, the best of Bitcoin and Ethereum, go to hotepjesus.com. Also, Decentricon tickets. I'm giving away five free tickets to Decentricon Miami. Go to hotepjesus.com. Sign up for my email list to enter. Wait for my email to go out, and then you'll find out how to win. Maybe you'll hang out with me in Miami, meet my camera guy, and chop it up with the homies. Without further ado, I have a very special guest for you today, the Quartering.
Hey, how are you?
Before we even get to let me get loose. Let me take the scarf off and get loose. This is a heavy interview we got tonight. I've been checking out your stuff, and you seem like you're the guy that has the answers to my questions.
Oh man, you're starting out with a lot of pressure, but yeah, okay. I'll see what I can do.
Oh yeah, the pressure is on. First thing we got to dive into is I need to know what's going on with the oil czar Biden. What is going on with oil? I heard something today about he's tapping into the oil reserves and they're trying to take credit for the price of oil dropping, et cetera, et cetera. What is the 411? What is the education you can give me on why prices have risen, maybe why he's tapping into the oil reserves? Is this good? Is this bad? Should I cuss out Biden for this? What's the 411?
Why? And it's my opinion that I think we saw, a couple of weeks ago, it came out where Biden was like trying to negotiate with the Saudis, I think, to lower gas prices around the midterms. He was like begging them to, and I think that was a really bad look, obviously. I don't know where you're at geographically, but where I live,
I'm in Jersey. Where are you at?
Wisconsin, so Midwest.
Okay.
Gas is still,
that is, but go ahead.
Yeah, Chicago, near Chicago.
Okay.
A lot of gas is still over $4 a gallon here. So in the Midwest, that's pretty expensive. So yeah, I don't know. what his plan is, if he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, because he won't drill, which is what he should do.
Okay.
But he also got basically cucked by the Saudis. By, they knew he was in a position where he needed help, and they didn't need to negotiate, because they know he's not going to drill. They know he's not going to go into our strategic reserve. And really, the strategic reserve is really just a temporary fix anyway. It's like a PR thing. Like, oh, Biden releases 1 million barrels. And people hear 1 million and they're like, man, that must be a lot of gas. It really isn't. It doesn't do much. So I don't know. I would assume that by the midterms he's going to do something.
Yeah.
But that's almost worse. It feels like he's holding off so that, like, 2 weeks before midterms, suddenly gas can be 50 cents a gallon cheaper, and then they can run those commercials. We saved you, America. You paid more for 50 weeks, but for these 2 weeks, we got you. And that's what I suspect will happen, and that's really sad.
Okay, so I don't know what's going on with the Saudis. Do you know much about that and how the negotiations went with that, or how it's supposed to go?
I don't.
Okay.
I'm not an expert on that. I know that, they're always buying, we're always selling, but I'm not an expert at that.
Yeah. I ran into this dude. I wish I wrote it down. It's in my email somewhere, but there's a book. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and read it yet and download it. But when I get that, I'll share it with you and I'll share it with the chat. But apparently, there's this guy I was sitting next to at my kid's soccer practice, and I'm just going to assume he's a liberal. And he was like, I started reading this book and my eyes are open on the oil industry. So I'm like,
oh boy, that must be some book. Yeah.
So, when I get that information, I'll let people know. But what do you think is the appropriate action for Biden? And if you had to take a guess in regards to oil?
Yeah, well, I think the only way you can fix it is a combination of reducing demand and increasing supply, which means you have to drill. Which means you have to get, various pipelines that you made a big deal about shutting down. I think he's stuck between a rock and a hard place because he really can't. If he starts talking about drilling, he's already very unfavorable. His latest approval ratings were somewhere in the 30s, something like that, 33%, or, are you satisfied? There's different polls all the time,
Right.
But, I think he's in a basically lose-lose scenario here, because if he does increase supply, he can really only do that by being a better negotiator with Russia, which he can't right now, who is has oil. So he can't get it from Russia. And that means Saudi Arabia knows, they know they have him over a literal barrel. So I'm not exactly sure what he's going to do. He should drill more and incentivize finding numerous ways to reduce demand, not just tell Americans to buy an electric car, which is also ridiculous and doesn't reduce demand. But, I don't know if he has any idea what to do.
Reduce demand. How do we go about reducing demand?
Well, there are other things that make demand on oil, right? Not just gasoline for cars. So you could increase power supply, for example, by, I don't know, embracing nuclear power. You could do, this is something that, nobody wants to live next to a nuclear power plant. I understand. However, there are plenty of places where nobody lives, where you could be running these things and greatly increasing the supply of energy that isn't relying on fossil fuels. And I think for whatever reason, they just keep refusing to do it. Europe is in a major energy crisis right now, major energy crisis. And I have a friend from Germany who just came to visit 2 weeks ago, told me his heating bill is going to be triple in January. I don't know how anyone can afford that. And they continue to say, well, we'll just not embrace nuclear energy. So embracing nuclear energy would be a huge, huge thing. And I think finding more ways to reduce the things, because they use oil for lots of things, plastics and all sorts of stuff like that. So I think if you're going to do like government incentive programs, you incentivize finding alternatives for those things. And it's not an overnight fix, but you could put a bunch of Band-Aids on. In the meantime, he's just got to buy more oil. He's just got to buy more because he can't drill. But I'm no expert either, so I don't I don't know.
That's hilarious. Shout out to my super chatters. I appreciate you. We're going to get to the super chatters as we wind down. Okay. Do you feel like maybe the energy crisis has been purposely created, especially when you're dealing with Europe?
Sure feels that way. I mean, did energy demand increase? Here's ask it a different way. Did energy demand increase that much in the last 12 months? You know, like, or did supply cut that much in the last? What happened? You know, I'm not a big geopolitics guy, so I don't know. All I know is that, you know, Germany is going to be very cold this year. And you could also say, well, I wonder who poked a hole in that pipeline. But there's all sorts of other things that I don't know. I mean, it feels manufactured because we haven't had anything like, so we haven't had anything that would like drastically increase demand. In fact, more people are staying home than ever, right? There's still a big part of that population. I talked about with the COOF. There's like 10% of the population that's ruined. They're never going to go to another movie. They're never going to go to another concert. They're going to order everything from Amazon, which some people say some people think that there are people that want that anyway. But like, so there's people traveling less now than ever. People are traveling less by airplane. So it's like, I don't know where all this increased demand came from. Sure feels artificial, but the whole oil industry really is, just like diamonds.
Yeah.
There's manufactured scarcity that, well, it's open on, we'll turn the needle up a little bit, give you like 25 cents off a gallon. Everyone's happy. It's like they're playing this game where like, oh, Americans will take so much pain. And eventually they're like, okay, well, it's over $4.50 a gallon. That's too much pain for the average American. And they blame the president. So they turn it back down. Everyone calms down. Then they turn it back up. It just seems so like, I mean, I remember when we had mean tweets and $3 a gallon.
Yeah.
And it was like that for all 4 years. So I don't think the world demand for oil has changed that much year over year. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not an expert. It just doesn't feel like it.
So my next question to you is, if it is on purpose, why? And if I were to take a guess at why, two basic reasons. One is because you get to run the government for subsidize your life, et cetera, and more communism and socialism as a result. Would you corroborate that? Is there something else I'm missing?
I would add to it and say, when you look at what's going to happen with these power companies, let's say in Europe, right, where their prices are insane, what's the next natural thing to happen? Well, the government's going to become your power company. And this is something I talked about with my German friend, who is he's aware of history and things of that nature. And I said, well, that's what's probably going to happen, right? The government's going to take over these power plants, which I think he mentioned we had many wines, but like he mentioned something like, oh, they already took over this one, but I don't want to say that for a fact. I feel like every decision the government makes is to make people more reliant on it, and therefore, in general. So, therefore, if I believe that, then I believe that keeping people, needing their assistance, needing their help, is important to them. Because when people have financial freedom, when people have, freedom to make real rational decisions, because people don't make rational decisions when they're living paycheck to paycheck. Nobody does. They're just trying to pay that rent. That's why, crime happens. Then you're just trying to feed your kid. You're just trying to, these are crimes that are not done by people who are thinking rationally. So the more they keep people afraid, the more they keep people in need and looking to them, the longer they retain control and the more control they get, which is ultimately what it's all about.
Wait, so this sounds straight out of the Communist Manifesto. This sounds straight out of the 10 planks of Marxism, except this is centralization of energy in the hands of the state.
It seems like at least one possibility, when you're talking about these prices that are increasing, and then I don't know what the next natural step would be if you're in Europe. where so much of their lives are already controlled by their government, including their healthcare. Which so they control your healthcare, they control your gas, whether you can heat your house, and like I don't know if people all know like the environmental, like the climate in Europe is not exact. It's not like it's Florida where it's warm. I mean, it gets cold. They need heat. It's not. They need energy just like anyone else. So I think it's kind of scary to think about, but then it's like playing out right in front of you, and it feels like Occam's razor is like right there about why this stuff's happening.
You said it sounds like Occam's razor.
Occam's razor is like the most logical answer is the correct one.
Okay.
So it's that's what it feels like. Like, well, there's a million little things that it could be, or maybe they know that they can press people. If they press people enough, they'll give up more control. I mean, we saw the way regular everyday people turned into the police during lockdowns.
Okay.
Willingly, calling the cops on their neighbors for having too many people over. This is more popular in Canada and stuff like that. But I mean, you don't think people took notice of that? I certainly do.
Yeah. I'm loving this conversation so far. Before Trump, I was like, I don't know, black nationalist or something. I don't know what I was technically.
Sure.
I think that's the term people use nowadays. So I was studying a lot of African history, African-centered stuff. So you say things like Occam's razor, this is Caucasian language that's just completely
yeah,
new
that's
to
fair.
me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
And I'm trying to catch up now, so I'm learning.
Yeah.
This is education for me. I love this. I love learning, and I love adding. So now Occam's razor, I have to look that up. I have to add
Occam's razor, Hanlon's razor. These are like old. Yeah. I don't know if you'd call them an idiom, if that's what they are, but yeah, you're right. It's probably Caucasian as hell. Maybe not though. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I need all the caucasity. I need all of it. I love
caucasity.
it's just shorthand for, trying to say things, right?
Yeah.
And it makes you sound smarter than what you actually are. So
that's a fact. I had that one in my back pocket. I'm like, I hope he asks me something that I can bust this out. Yeah.
So when you guys see me say, this is an Occam's razor moment,
Oh, you're going to, yeah, right. People are like, damn, that dude is smart.
I love those. All right. So how does all this oil stuff tie into the climate change agenda and the push for electric vehicles?
I mean, directly, I think, right? I mean, if you make gas so expensive that people can't afford it, what are their options? And I think that, it was awfully good timing that made basically every major automobile manufacturer in the United States had electric vehicles seemingly out of nowhere. Like, yes, I know they were clearly developing them for a long time, but it's like also people, I mean, look, I own an electric car. I don't drive it to save the environment. I drive it because it's fast, it's fun. And like, so like, I'm not one of those people who have electric cars that are like, I'm saving the planet. Like, I don't believe that. I also think that the conditions in lithium mines are shocking. If people knew like how lithium was mined and where it was mined, and if by the kids, kids who mine it in these African countries, and it is bad. Okay. So you're buying oil from Terry's, or you're buying child labor lithium. This is your two options. That seems kind of messed up. Like, maybe there should be a third option, but for some reason, I just don't know. These are our only two options and always have been, which is concerning to me.
Yeah. That's what bothers me about the whole electric car, right? It's child labor in Africa.
Yeah, that's where the batteries are coming. I mean, that's either China or child labor in Africa. These are your two pipelines for lithium.
Yeah, and China probably owns the mines in Africa, so it's still
of course. Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah. So it's China anyway. Are these rare earth metals too that are in the not just lithium but other rare earth
cobalt?
Yeah. They're not digging that up in the hills of Montana. That's coming from impoverished areas where they're hiring questionable people, and it's like, man, I remember there was a time in this country where like people cared where their sneakers were made, but suddenly no one cares anymore.
Yeah.
Because of cheap stuff. Yeah. Which is something I try to talk about on my channel too. It's like, how do you fight against people are concerned about, hey man, we have too much influence from foreign countries in this country. too much control on a supply chain. What do you do?
Mhm.
Well, if you're like an everyday Jane or Joe or whatever, you can't like just say, I'm only going to buy American made, because sometimes it's prohibitively expensive, but you can make small decisions like, oh, I'm buying paper plates. Okay, this one's made in America. It's 10 cents more. Okay, here's a spot I can make a change. And so I hope that more people start like kind of being more conscious where they're buying stuff. And I don't know where that came from, but anyway, sorry.
No, it makes sense.
yeah.
China and owning the mines,
the
right?
lithium mines, all this stuff, like that's concerning to me. Like you ever take one of those, where do you think all our masks were made? Where do you think all of our tests were made for everybody? Like they're all coming from the same place. Like, like maybe go back to making stuff in this country, even if it's more expensive. I think that again, you don't have to do it all, but there are things you can do to reduce. I worry about that with oil and gas because the United States certainly has plenty of it, but I'm also like, I'm a bit of a tree hugger now. Like, I'm not for like just start mining, like pumping oil. I know I want to reduce demand too. So oil's not going to last forever. It's also super bad for the environment to drill it. But until there's a viable alternative, and John Q. Public buying a $50,000 Tesla isn't a really viable alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Until there is a real one, then you just have to make it cheap, because when people have more money, they invest that money, they start their businesses, they add to the economy. When people are just trying to stay alive, they can't, they physically can't. People take less chances because they literally can't fail. So I'm always in favor of having people having more money than less.
And the lithium batteries, from my very cursory understanding of it, is even the disposal of those is and bad for the environment.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There is the long-term effects of that. And right. I mean, it's just, they're just, what's the word for it? Like, they're just passing the buck right now with this electric, like Joe Biden telling people to buy an electric car almost made my head explode. And again, I say this as a Tesla owner, like they're a luxury vehicle. They aren't a fix for gasoline, because our grid, you want to talk about nuclear power plants, our grid cannot support more than a small percentage of the population driving electric vehicles. Unless you want to bring it back home, put more nuclear power plants in place, because you can't support this strain on the grid. And you know how we generate our electricity? We burn oil and coal. So it's like, why don't more people if just the average American in this country could just make those three connections? Like, how could you listen to that coming from the president and be like, oh, you just be like, what? This dude is talking out of his rear. It's a big pet peeve for me.
I think they just depend on people being ignorant, not being inspired to look for more, in the stench that they throw at alternative opinions, right? If you come and say, hey, look, I don't think that's the right thing to do, it's like, oh, you're racist. And it's like, what does that have to do with lithium batteries?
Wait, I'm just saying I don't want little African kids making my batteries. In fact, that's kind of the opposite of being racist, but okay, I guess I'll be banned from Twitter.
Yeah. And you make a great point how if everybody transitions to electric vehicles, then how do we power them all? And we're back to square one, because it's putting a strain on the grid. Yeah, it's so nonsensical. Once upon a time, I was a rapper. And my first single as a solo artist, it was called Winner. And in this video, well, right before this video came out, I found out that China was making Nike sneakers with $2 an hour. Mm-hmm. Slave labor, basically. And these were women in sweatshops.
Yeah.
And the video leaked. I forget what it was called. Behind the Swoosh. That's it. Behind the Swoosh.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I'm like, wait, that's black women, black Asian women. So, again, like I said, I was super pro-black at the time. And I'm like, yo, I'm boycotting Nike and I'll never wear Nikes again. And I've never worn Nikes again. Never purchased a pair. So in my video, I'm burning like Jordans, like elite rare Jordans.
Oh, nice. Yeah. All right. I like it.
Everybody lost their mind. How could you
just possessions, man? Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what was funny, bro? When I burnt those Bread 11s, I felt pain. I had an attachment to these physical
Oh,
items.
sure. Yeah.
And that was like one of my big awakenings, was like, damn, I'm attached to these Jordan sneakers that much. Like this little piece of fucking, it probably cost them $5 to make with another $50 in marketing per Jordan.
That's so profound to find that about yourself, though. Like, it's empowering then, because in so many ways, right? Now you just buy whatever kicks you want, whichever feel good. You know, like, I'm almost 40. I wear New Balance now. I don't care. Like, they're grandpa's shoes, but I don't care. They're super comfortable. And like, you know, like, once you free yourself from that corporatism a little bit, sure, we all have our, you know, our thing or whatever that we like, but it also frees up the way you spend and the way you look at money and the decisions that you make. Like, oh, you know, like, oh, I really like Coke or Pepsi, but, you know, I'll just drink the off-brand stuff. And by the end of the year, you make a bunch of decisions like that, and you're saving more money, and you realize that it doesn't really matter. It's like when people, I forget, maybe 2010 or whatever, when it kind of was really big, was people were cutting the cord, getting rid of cable.
Mm-hmm.
So many people are just addicted to having cable.
Yes.
And it went from, you know, $40 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month, $130 a month. The average bill at the time, $130 to $150 a month. And people are like, oh, then this thing comes around called Netflix and Hulu, and they're $10 a month. And like, there was a huge disruption in telecom, Time Warner, Dish Network, DirecTV. So everyone's like, oh yeah, maybe I don't need to watch the show right when it's on. You know, maybe I can watch it later. This is why DVRs became so important. Maybe I'll DVR it and cancel out the commercials, because we only have a finite amount of time on this planet, and my time is kind of like the most important currency I have. And it changed the whole industry. And then we got sucked back in with binging and all this kind of stuff. But for a moment there, it was pretty great.
Yeah, absolutely. So around the time I was doing a Nike thing, I did something else. I started boycotting Walmart.
Okay.
Almost
plenty of reasons to do that.
Yeah. So this was my activism moment, right? Boycott Nike. I was at Occupy Wall Street, boycott Wall Street, and boycott Walmart. But the funny thing about Walmart was, and I want to hear your thoughts and opinion on Walmart and Amazon. The funny thing about that was I found out like something like 97% of the items in Walmart were made in China. And then what meant more to me was the blood sucking of Walmart in a local community and how it comes in and completely destroys. I also took a job at Home Depot, and I started, you know, I'm a young kid, you know, lower 20s, and the guy who works in the electric aisle, right? The plumbing guy, you know, they're all saying, yeah, you know, I used to have a plumbing shop. You know, I used to have an electric shop.
Yeah.
And now they're 15 an hour wage employees for Home Depot.
For Globo, Corpo, yeah. It's funny.
How do you deal with that? How do you balance all that? Because now it's like you can't go anywhere you can't fix your home up without Home Depot.
I know. Now you have to, because there are no small time stores. And the small time stores. So where I live, there's a chain. It's not that small, but it's called Ace. People in chat may know it. I don't know if it's in Jersey
Ace
or not.
Hardware?
But yeah, Ace Hardware. Yeah. So it's a chain, but it's locally owned. So like, I go there instead of Home Depot whenever I can. But then sometimes you're like, damn, that shovel is $8 at Menards and it's $25 here. And I can only bleed so much. Like so this one of those things where I go to Ace for small stuff and stuff that I know will be cheaper, because I lived in a town of about 30,000 people and saw Main Street die when Walmart came in. It took 6 months. Everything was gone. And like, most of those shops, a lot of towns have these like historic downtowns, you know, where they're like, you know, gone. Wow. Like everything there. We had a hardware store down there. We had all this stuff gone. And then 5 years later, Home Depot's there. And then Menards built across the street, literally. And we only had 40,000 people in the city. Then there was about a dozen little small hardware shops that all closed. So it's soul sucking. And I worked for the place. I worked for Walmart for like 3 years. And that's a whole nother experience too, where they're like, oh, get out of the door, Jeremy. You're 28.4 hours. If you work 28.5, we got to pay you insurance. So like, I saw that stuff. I lived that stuff. And, you know, I remember saying like, I just need more money. Like, I don't care about the insurance. Just let me work more hours. Like, I don't care how you got to do it. And they're like, no, you got to get out of here. So Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I mean, remember during lockdowns, you couldn't go to the funeral for your grandma or your father, but you could go to Walmart
Yes.
and you could go to Target, and it was like,
And McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's, dude, McDonald's. And I'm like,
In the middle of a health
hello?
crisis.
Yeah. I'm like, are you guys seeing this? I can't go to my father's funeral, but I can go to McDonald's. And it was like, maybe corporations have just a little too much power.
Yeah.
Just a little.
The funny thing was about the whole McDonald's situation was
Oh, and I went too. I went because it was the only thing that was open.
right.
All the little mom and pop restaurants couldn't open.
Couldn't open. But the funny thing about that was they closed the gyms.
Yeah. So everyone got fatter and lazier and more heart problems. Yeah. I don't want to go connecting too many dots, but I think you see where I'm going there.
Like, how are we in the middle of a health crisis with something that affects your respiratory system? Allegedly.
And something we know that healthy people, it's like a very strong factor in your favor, that being healthy and working out makes you more likely to be able to, defeat it.
Yeah.
Like, no, stay at home. Now, slow down, player. We don't need you going to the gym. Go home and sit on your rear end, turn on some Netflix and consume. That's what we want.
Go to McDonald's.
Yeah. Get a Big Mac and consume. Go home. We'll give you a paycheck. How much were you making? $18 an hour? We'll give you 20. You don't even have to go to work.
Yeah. Well, what about that, right? Like,
that was insanity, dude. My wife had a good job. She made I think $25 an hour at the time, or $28 an hour. And she only had to take $100 a week pay cut to take a layoff. I was like, you're paying too much money.
yeah.
Like if who's going to stay and work at Culver's or McDonald's for $12 an hour, they could be unemployed and get 18 or 19 or whatever for those, how many months?
Right. So then look at the trick that they pulled. So first of all, mom and pop shops that were open and survived some of the big corp, their employees are now being subsidized by government. So these people can't even keep employees, right?
Dude, do you know what the McDonald's is paying in my city just to get employees? And I don't live in a big town. $22 an hour to hire burger flippers. That's what this did, right? That's what all this did. Because people just, and it's like, by the way, you think you're paying these burger flippers $22 an hour? That isn't going to mess with your extra value meal? No, your double quarter pounder with cheese, no onions, is probably went from $6 to $11.
Yeah.
And then people are like, what's going on with all these high prices?
What killed me was they crashed the economy, and then the economy recovers and they go, oh, this is a great growth in economy.
Yeah. You had Joe Biden out there just look at me. The market's never been stronger. Yeah. Okay, idiot. Remember.
You're still trying to come back to zero.
Yeah. It's still worse off than it was 5 years before that. But yeah, thanks.
Going based upon rate of growth.
Yeah. Right.
From a negative point.
Right. It's like, he took over basically a situation where it was a no fail, and he still basically failed
completely.
But there are people that will keep voting. And by the way, just so I am not a hard party line voter. I don't consider myself conservative.
Okay.
I voted both ways. And I voted libertarian. I voted for Obama. I voted for Trump, and I voted for, who is that big libertarian candidate? Ron Paul? Was it Ron Paul?
Ron Paul.
Yeah. And so I'm not like a stooge because I believe all politicians are garbage.
Okay.
But, it's like, I feel like there's, at least right now, one party that I know is going to make life worse for everybody. And, when you see New York, LA, I wonder, has it always been this bad and we're just seeing it now because everyone's recording it and uploading it? Maybe that's the case, but yikes. I would never want to live in New York or LA. You could not pay me to live in those cities. It's like a war zone.
Yeah.
I don't even understand it.
Yeah. Well, what about the purge laws? Because I'm listening to some hip hop podcasts, and the rappers are like, "Yo, shit's out of control," right? Like, where you're saying you're not sure. What the rappers are saying,
yeah,
we need to fund the police.
yeah. Well, you see that? Remember that bishop that got robbed? He had all those chains on in New York. He was like live streaming. Like, this thing is like supersedes color. Like, people just don't want to be getting like robbed all the time and dealing with like terrible violence and people getting pushed in front of trains. Like, I also believe that the lockdowns made people worse. I think that there was like a contagion that really wrecked a lot of people. And you saw that with a lot of these protests where there were a lot of peaceful elements to it. And then there was always like a section of like these people that just had so much rage. Mm-hmm. And like, I see these things in New York every day, in LA every day. And I mean, there's just Tennessee, like some dude chopped up 4 other dudes because they were going to get a lick or something. They were going to rob someplace and they dismount. I'm just like, what is happening? And like, I really think that I'm not a religious man, but I can kind of look at like humanity as a whole and be like, man, people just suck now.
Yeah. Like
people are angry and damaged. And I think the lockdowns were responsible for at least a small increase in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to my super chatters. I appreciate you. We're going to get to the super chatters as we begin to wind down a little bit later. So let's talk about your politics. So, voted for Obama, voted for Trump, Ron Paul. So you seem to be a very balanced approach to all of this. What about Black Lives Matter? Were you ever a black box poster?
No, I was not.
Okay.
I thought, I think what I fight back against now is being pigeonholed and compartmentalized. And, I think it was like from the minute of like Black Lives Matter Inc. It was like, I think you go back to some of my earlier videos. I'm like, you watch this Patrice Cullors. She's gonna get rich. And she did. And she bought a bunch of houses. And where did she buy them, Hotep? Where did she buy them?
She bought them in a beautiful white neighborhood.
99.9% white gated community. So it was like, and it's all falling apart too. And I'm talking about the organization.
Yes.
Not about, the idea.
Well, real quick, so you know, BLMchapterstatement.com exists. Are you familiar with this?
No, I'm not.
Okay, there's a BLM.
Is this the one about the breaking the nuclear family apart, stuff like that?
No.
Okay.
That's that was under the villages section of their old website. They cleaned that out. I exposed them in 2014 and 2015 when that came to.
That's so weird. They must have not believed it then, huh? Or was it? Do you think it was just that they changed their opinions, or was it that they got caught? I mean, I'm just wondering.
So I want you to look into BLMchapterstatement.com. Basically, what this is, these are the chapters under Black Lives Matter Inc. saying, listen, we ain't got no money from them. Where's the money?
Oh, yeah.
These are the different chapters: Philadelphia, New Jersey, D.C., the ones that were directly attached to the mothership.
And they needed the most. Yeah.
Needed the most and never got it. So it's not like you're just some white guy. There's black people with Black Lives Matter mad at Black Lives Matter.
Oh, yeah. I believe it, especially now that like more stuff's gotten out, I think that it's like the culture war ruins a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And like something like Black Lives Matter immediately turning into All Lives Matter, immediately turning into, this like divisive issue. It was a weird thing to watch as a white guy, because you got to like really kind of be aware. Like, I grew up, there was like, I went to one of the largest high schools in my state, and there was like 2 black guys in the school. All right. So I know my blind spot.
Okay.
But like, and now I live in the middle of the country, and I see raccoons more than I see humans, which is actually better.
Oh my God. Hold on now. Hold on. Wait a second. Wait.
Yeah.
Let chat. Hold on. I know y'all about to lose y'all shit.
Oh,
You know, you can't put raccoons and black folks in the same sentence, right?
yeah. All right, fine.
That's your first white supremacist talking point. That's your first strike, Jeremy.
All right. I got two left. Yeah, as the mask slipped, apologize. But the I thought it was so, man, it sucked. I just felt like rich white liberals were pouring money into something to prove they weren't racist, which was like weird to me. Yeah. Like, I don't understand giving somebody your money and all the corporations, dude. Oh my God. Like, why don't you pay your black employees more money? Why are you putting $5 million into some black box, pardon the pun or the term, but some mystery box of fundraising? Why don't you just pay your black employees more? Why don't you just hire more black people? You make the change at the community level. You don't make it at the corporate, national, or global level. It's just like all those big charities like Red Cross, right? Or at least they talk about like 1 penny or a fraction of a penny from these big charities make it to the people that need it. Yeah. Same thing with BLM. I didn't see them out in Milwaukee helping local business. I saw Democrat politicians saying they support Black Lives Matter, but they're all these agencies, including Black Lives Matter, were net negative for everyone except for the people that were enriched by them. All it did, again, as a white guy, I felt like race relations have never been worse. And I don't understand why. Like, when you go to the 90s, I don't know how old you are, because as I've been told, I've been told black does not indeed crack. So you could be 60 and I wouldn't know. But I remember in the 90s, white guys who were whatever would say I don't see color or whatever, Then it turned into this thing. No, you need to see color. Now you need to acknowledge as it. And I was like, what do you think? I felt like attacking people. It was like the rhetoric changed from, hey, I'm not racist, to no, that's not enough. You have to be anti-racist. I think that bred more hate.
Yes.
I think a lot of white folks, wait a minute, I'm not racist. And by the way, I'm sick of you calling me racist. And then it turned into something worse.
Yeah. And
so a lot of this race grifting, while I do appreciate the grift, was, it was just, I don't know. I felt divisive,
Yeah.
All the kneeling stuff felt performative. Like, hey, you make $100 million a year. It's hard for me to think you're oppressed or feel bad for you. But maybe go and work in the community, and take some of that money and be the change that you want to see, instead of just kneeling and then expecting everyone else to, I don't know, expecting someone else to do it. I'm more of I'm not a big thinker. I'm more of a practical guy. And I feel like if you take these NFL athletes, NBA athletes, I love sports. I've never thought of when you watch I'm a huge basketball fan. And then now I have to watch commercials in every basketball game calling me racist. I'm I bought season tickets, and I don't know if you knew this, but most basketball players are indeed black. So I'd never even it made people, I never even thought about this stuff.
Yeah.
But then I had to watch commercials and all this stuff saying, oh, well, wait a minute now. Are you secretly racist? And then it's okay, well, you know what? I'm not buying season tickets. And that's actually what happened. Yeah. It was really the Hong Kong thing with the NBA, but I was a season ticket holder. And then I was like, oh, you know what? Screw you. You know what? Okay, sell my seat to an activist. That was, and again, it all was tendriling off, and all it did was cause more division, which, if you're black pilled on it, is what people wanted from the start. But
yes,
I can't really put that devil on anyone per se, but division means control.
Yeah.
And, and control means power and profit and money. And, I just don't think our politicians, Democrat or Republican, really benefit from not being able to talk about racists. Yes, there are genuine racists out there, and they're pieces of garbage. And I hope they see the light one day. But if they don't, I'm not slowing down for them. And nobody else should either. Why should we stop and focus on people who are backwards?
Right.
You should be, and so it felt regressive. Anyway, that was a rant, but
it's the race grift.
I never, like I appreciate almost all grifts, but ones that like actively seek to divide people, it's like it really bothers me because I just feel like, in the late 90s, did it feel like we had as much racism as we do now? I don't know. I'm not black, so I can't say, but it sure feels like we didn't.
Yeah.
But maybe, I don't know. Maybe.
Right. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, go to grifties.com and vote for the quartering for
I made a
Grifter
run.
of the Year.
I made a run there for a little while.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened, man. Like bots had ransacked our app.
Things were wild. Yeah.
We've been trying to work on it and get things under control. And then like there's some like legit like negative grifters out there that other people on other parts of YouTube had nominated, and they just hate them so much that they voted these people to the top.
Yeah, they didn't get the grift. I was like, no. Like Candace Owens should be winning, not like, I don't know, whatever, Joe Biden or whatever. Like, it was like actual people that were bad. I was like, no. This is this is about taking back the grift. Like,
yeah,
that's but anyway, yeah, I enjoyed that website and hope to one day, it was an honor just to be nominated.
I got to link you with my producer because we're getting ready to ramp up the grifties next year.
Okay, yeah. I'll help promote that for sure.
Yeah, appreciate that. But in regards to this whole Black Lives Matter thing, all I saw was hypocrisy and bigotry, right? Let's start with the NFL. The NFL says we have to tackle racism. Okay, cool. But you won't allow a black person to own a football team.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Right. NBA, you want to tackle racism. But when who's the brother that started the CBA and then they turned it into the D-League? Isaiah Thomas.
D-League. Yeah. Isaiah Thomas. Yeah.
They completely just tarnished his reputation, got him away from that, stole that from him and turned that into a D-League, which is a feeder league now, which what it was before. It was a feeder league for the NBA.
Yeah, but it stood on its own more. It wasn't like under the umbrella.
Right.
Yeah.
Got rid of that. Ice Cube now is complaining that
He was always Ice Cube was always right there, though. Remember when he came out and he was like, when Trump had that, and just so people know, I got my problems with Trump. I don't think he's the best president ever. But when he came out for that, he had his my platinum plan for blacks.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, whatever. But that's totally Trump, And I was like, but Ice Cube was like, hey, maybe we should check this out. And was like, whoa, wait a minute. You're not black anymore. You can't be. And I was like, this is what, I mean, I was like, well, wait, do you want a president that wants to do something good for your community or not? And I'm not endorsing the plan, but it was like, they were like, don't even talk about it. He got so much blowback. He had to back off basically and be like, I was just kidding.
Yeah, he had to completely remove himself from politics. This is Ice Cube we're talking about. We're talking about Friday and Boys from the Hood.
A pillar in the black community.
You don't get blacker than Ice Cube.
Yeah. He had the crime of saying he just wanted to hear him out. It's not like he said, hey, I'm with Trump on this. It's not what he's like, oh, well, maybe we should compare the plans because, maybe one political party just expects black people to vote for them.
Yeah.
And maybe we should see what they're actually doing for us.
Right.
And that was enough, dude. Then they were like, no, man, you can't say that. It was like crabs in a bucket. You ever hear that before? That's another white guy thing. But but that's what it was like. No, get back down here. Don't look at that because we need to get him out of office. We need to get this other white guy in office who's going to do right by us. It was really weird to watch.
So then the other thing is, they're talking about racism in America, white supremacists and all this stuff. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, it sure isn't Earl with the pickup truck not hiring black folks.
That's a fact. Yeah.
That's Apple and Google. That's big corp that was marginalizing black folks, and NAACP had to bring lawsuits against big corp. NAACP wasn't going out after Earl with his Confederate flag, who's just, maybe has a landscaping business.
And then maybe that's why Apple and Amazon all donated $5 million to BLM. I mean, maybe that keeps the heat off. I don't know what the price tag is. but there is one. I have to assume because you're exactly right. Like, okay, you got some racist dude in your town that doesn't like black folks. That's not affecting the economy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the corporation who has 1,000 openings in the metro area that isn't going, trying to help the community.
Right.
So yeah, it was sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, my bad.
And then they're not injecting capital in a black business. And if they do, it's like the black business that writes articles like black men are the white people of black people.
I know it's funny that if you don't know, like that is an actual article.
It is.
I know like if you were just sitting outside listening, you'd be like, come on, man. No. I remember covering that article and I was there's only so much, there's only so much I can have a take on.
Yeah.
I kind of try to stay in my lane, but I was like, what in the hell? Like, it's like if you're black and successful, you're white.
Yeah.
It's like the only way you can be black to these white liberals is like if you're poor. And then and like they're purse puppies. You heard this term before, yeah?
Okay.
So like it's like it's like, well, if you're black and successful, they don't view you as black.
Right.
Like people don't look at LeBron James as a black man. Liberals don't, because it is a narrative breaker for them. And I do think it's unfair to use like professional athletes as an example to say like, well, look at this black billionaire. Okay, fine. He's an athlete, but like it's interesting to see when you see articles. Now, I don't know. I think a black woman wrote that article, if I remember right. I can't remember exactly.
Black man. His name was Michael.
Black man, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like when a white person writes that, like actually, I wouldn't even be surprised nowadays.
You wouldn't be here right now.
No. Yeah. Oh well, yeah. If I wrote that, I don't know though. That's the crazy thing. I don't know if a white woman wrote that article. I think it'd be okay.
It would be.
It would be okay.
Yeah.
Because like self-hating white women are like premium currency. They can say, they are a very valuable tool of oppression, and it's self-oppression that they peddle in. And it's and men too. Like I don't know if this is a phenomenon in other cultures or communities or races, but there certainly are a lot of self-hating white people out there, especially media. And I don't really know what drives them. Like, why do you think they write stuff like that? Like, you always see like, oh, white people are bad. Article number 7, written by a white person. And I'm like, I don't understand. Why don't you just say like some white people are bad?
Yeah.
Or some. It's like they lost the. It's like it's okay to generalize by race when it's white people.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not okay. So it just shouldn't be okay.
My thing is, Democrats want diversity of skin, but homogeneity of mind.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
So,
yeah,
you it's like, yeah, you're black, but how do you think?
Well, that's what that saying, which I think is probably frowned upon these days. But they used to talk about black folks, quote, leaving the plantation.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrats, like Larry Elder or something like that, where like if you go and you speak against the Democrats, not only are you like evil, but you're also like not black anymore.
Yeah.
Which is I think, I don't know, is it unique to the black community? I don't know where they'll do that to people. Maybe it's true of Asians and stuff like that too, but it seems weird that happens. Like they question his blackness simply because he is a conservative. I mean, the dude grew up, I think, in Compton. I think he like legitimately lived the life, and like you said, they're like, no, we don't want you now because you're not the diversity we want.
Right. Which leads us to Kanye West.
Yeah. But Kanye.
Where are you at on the Kanye situation? To see you making a face, where are you at on this?
Man, I would love to hang out with him one time.
Okay.
But like some things he say, he's wild. But then there was a clip, I think you retweeted it today, where he was talking. I think the tweet said something like, tell me this isn't some fire, or tell me this isn't like and it was Kanye talking about like rap lyrics about anti-Semitism and rap lyrics. So you see this clip? He's like, I can't repeat anything. He's right.
Kill your nigga.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is like, okay, like it's a decent point, but then also like it's dangerous water to tread when you're talking about, again, like a group of people, because I believe in personal responsibility, right? And like, and like, therefore, rappers are singing about what they want to sing about. And now maybe there's a certain degree of like, well, this is what's working, or maybe what like person gets signed. Those days are a little different now in 2022. You can make it on your own. Like, and people laugh about this, but it's really true. Like Kid Rock, like he legitimately, like, I can't say I'm a fan of his music, but that dude like made it big on his own without a label. And that was like pre-internet era. Now there are guys and gals who get super famous without a label ever, and in all music genres. And like, so I would hope that like whoever's in charge, can't control all the music that people listen to. Kanye's dropped a lot of red pills, and I reserve the use of red pill very sparingly nowadays. But also, some things you just can't be
saying. I hear.
Well, you better be careful in how you word it. That's all I'm saying, because he's gone like on this. He went on who's the guy from Breakfast Club that totally cucked out?
Charlemagne the God's.
No.
Nori.
Yeah. And didn't he call in and like apologize for platforming Kanye or something? Like 12 hours after beating his chest, talking about how he's got more views than the NFL or the Kardashians or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, you got in line really quick. Like, I don't know who picked up the phone, but somebody did. Somebody, like, I was like, okay, all right, cool. It's like every time, like, all right, cool. Some people, like every time, like somebody comes out against like cancel culture.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. And then just give it time.
Yeah.
Because someone's picking up that phone.
Yeah.
And they're like, listen, player. No, here's what you're going to say. I'm sorry. I made it, and they always sound the same. Oh, I shouldn't have platformed hate. Shouldn't have done this or that. And, I'm more into what do you think about Kanye's? I mean, maybe we don't talk about like maybe not non-specific, but like his recent run here. Like,
first of all, let me apologize to Ye. His name's Ye, and I.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
I've been guilty of calling him Kanye for the past few weeks, and I just found out that he legally changed his name to Ye. I didn't know he legally changed his name to Ye.
You're right.
He like really cares about that. So I have to get out of the habit of calling him Kanye. So Ye. Okay, Ye.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what hurt me, bro? I watched the interview, 3.5 hours, whatever it was, with Nori. I watched it live. And I watched it because I knew it was going to be deleted at some point. So I was like, let me get to it now, right? I didn't expect Nori to apologize, although I wasn't surprised. What hurt me most was his selection of people he wanted to do his apology tour with. He said Sean King.
Dude, he had to go to Talcum X to get like himself, like a white man, by the way. But like I did, yeah. And they also went on Breakfast Club, I think, right?
Yeah, but it was on the Breakfast Club where he said, hey, I reached out to Sean King. And it's like, Nori, you are like a staple in hip hop culture, an OG. Yeah. Sean King is a culture vulture.
Yeah.
He's a race pimp.
Yeah.
And if you look at the guy's childhood pictures. You can't convince me he's black.
No. Even if he were, the dude's a race grifter, which is the worst. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if he was, he doesn't really care about the cause.
Right.
He cares about enriching himself. And it's so obvious.
So obvious.
Yeah. Like, I'd rather he reached out to Homa, who's a wash your ass guy. Tariq Nasheed.
Oh, Tariq
I was-
Nasheed. Yeah,
so
I
like,
would.
I call
Yes.
Tariq Nasheed. I'm like, okay, like, but like, yeah, I'm sorry, I cut you off, but yeah, that was telling, right? Like Sean
Yeah.
King.
That hurt me. That hurt me hard to know that he wanted to jump straight to Sean King. Like that was the first name out his mouth. I'm like, and it wasn't the fact that it was Nori per se. It's the fact that, like, is this where black culture is? That you go get your black card back from Malcolm X, from Martin Luther King?
Yeah, he's
What?
it's sad as somebody who like, so when I look at Ye, I say you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't agree with everything he says, in particular the way he says it sometimes, but I understand the way his mind works, and the way a lot of times he's talking is like a stream of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you do a 3-hour live stream and you're just like vibing and riffing, you might say something messed up, and then like after you get a second to think about it, like, oh shoot, you know what I mean? Like,
Let me clean that up.
Yeah, but too late, right? It's out there now.
Right.
And but I think that, you know, it's sad that you could have predicted that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you tuned in because you're like, it was like when Trump was on with like Full Send or something like that. I don't listen to Full Send. I don't know anything about them, but like Trump's doing a live stream with some people in a golf. I'm like, I'm watching it because I know it ain't staying up, you know? And like, or like Alex Jones goes on with Rogan or something like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, I got to watch it because I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
But like, I think like, so have you seen some of the things he said, like trying to like clarify what he was saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's being like weaselly or if he really misspoke. Only he knows that. But like, if you take that stuff out of the question,
Yeah.
like you take that stuff out, everything else he said is based.
Right.
Everything else he said is true.
Yeah.
That, you know, that, and like, getting deplatformed and getting, you know, your bank account, you know, removed kind of proved him right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like this man, I'm telling there's a non-zero percentage that this man leaves us before his time. Because you start rabble rousing too much, you know, you got to go. I mean, that's, you know, like you end up on a park bench all by yourself with, you know, 3 holes in your head that no one can explain. You end up hanging yourself with toilet paper. You know, this stuff, I mean, come on. Like this stuff happens. I'm not saying it's going to, I can't, you know, I'm not going to point to anything specific, but I do worry about him.
Yeah.
Like he could do so much good if like, I think if he just didn't do live streams, you know, like if he just like, if he had an idea, if he had someone like you who'd hang out with him.
Yeah.
And he's like ranting and raving and you're like, okay, I'm going to, yes, but like,
let's figure out how to clean that up.
Yeah. You can't say that.
Right.
Okay. I'm not saying you're right or wrong, yay, but I'm saying if you say this is what he needs. So you say this, he will erase the other 3 hours and 29 minutes of a 3 hour and 30 minute truth bomb. If you say this, it will, and like, I feel like if you spun it to him that way, maybe he could understand. We know because we YouTube, right?
Yeah.
We say things like the jab or the coup or whatever, because we know what we have to say is important.
Mm-hmm.
We also know that the way you say things is almost more important.
Absolutely.
Because it costs you everything. It costs you your platform.
Mm-hmm.
And like he could do, I think he could do a lot of good in the Black community. I also think he needs, I don't know, he needs to just clean it up and really try to formulate his thoughts. Trump was like that too.
Yeah.
Where he would just riff and say something really stupid. And I'm like, oh, like when he did the like, thing to like a disabled journalist. I'm like, bro, you can't do that. I was like, they're going to kill you for that. And they did. And, you know, hey, maybe you say rightfully so, maybe not. I don't know. Today's world, we're soft.
Mm-hmm.
But like Kanye, I'm sorry, Ye has...
Yay.
Yeah, he I feel like I don't have the cred to call him Ye when I say that, but now I know it's actually his name. So okay.
Yeah, you kind of have to,
yeah.
otherwise he gets offended. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know him like that, so I never want to say it, but that is his name. Man, if he could just tighten it up, he's only got maybe one chance left because he wasn't banned. Importantly, I think he was not banned from Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. I don't think. He was suspended. Elon will bring him back. He was probably suspended for 7 days. So he'll be back. He just needs somebody between him and the keyboard, just like Trump did, just like a lot of great minds do. Although, whatever, I don't want to put Trump in with great minds. You get what I'm saying? Like, just maybe cut this out because a lot of people look up to that guy. He's a billionaire, self-made, right? Business mogul. He's the American dream.
So how do you feel about him purchasing Parler? Good business move, a grift.
Oh, terrible business move. Yeah, terrible, bro. Come on. Yeah, it's just huge waste of money. He would have been way better off buying Gab. Could you imagine what $10 million would do to Gab? Like
and the explosiveness of that to the left.
Yeah, right. Like, why you don't need to buy Parler because they already have huge trust issues. They have security issues. Their app sucks. Why in the heck would I want to go on that? Or he could have, the media is always saying that True Social's broke. Why don't you give True Social $10 million? I don't know what number he paid, but hypothetically,
right?
Like Gab is already set up from an infrastructure standpoint to literally be cancel free. True Social is not. Parler is not. It's on its own cloud now, allegedly, but I don't even know if it's their own servers. And they still need the App Store and Google Play. So Ye is not going on there talking about, certain like groups of people. He ain't talking about DEFCON 2 on Parler either. So I don't know what he was thinking. I think that was just like a knee jerk. Like, well, he's friends with Elon. Why wouldn't he just wait until Elon takes over Twitter and then like figure something out?
Well, the CEO of Parler is Candace Owens' husband.
I know.
So
yeah. And he was just hanging out with Candace the other day too. Like, I don't want to connect dots that aren't connected, but she posed in his White Lives Matter t-shirt, and then he buys. He has a agreement in principle. He is not paid yet.
Right.
I think if he can get out of it, he should.
Yeah.
That's bad money. What do you think?
Terrible decision. First of all, he could have spent $20,000 and built the same app, right?
Right, and not had all the stigma.
Yeah.
Did he do that thing? Who you had to buy like their stupid proprietary MP3 player. Who released?
Oh, the STEM player.
Was that him?
Yeah. He sold that, I think.
Oh, okay. I was like, that feels like a network.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, yeah. I don't know what I know what he was thinking. He was lashing out. Some woman was probably in his ear, and whose name rhymes with Mandis. He's like, hey, here's what you should do: get my husband out of this bad investment. and like, more competition's better, but what does he know about tech?
Yeah.
He's just picking like the worst battle. He has money, but money only gets you so far. Parler had money. Getter had money. Getter's dead. The only thing that's really is like the cockroach after the nuke is Gab. And I strongly dislike their owner.
Right.
But like, if I always say in my videos, people want to talk about the true free speech Twitter alternative, it's Gab. That's the only thing that it is. Every other Getter with their Chinese bots and there's all this stuff going on. They're all bad.
I thought it was very telling that Gab came out, was killing it, and then everybody decided to create a competitor. And it's just like, why would you cannibalize yourself like that?
I know. And that's the thing. I talked about that in video today too. I was like, okay, I will use Twitter but I am not using Twitter and. Like, I'm not using True Social, Getter, Parler. No. Like
Can we
need to
settle on
centralize.
one?
Yeah, we have to settle on one.
Yeah.
And like, to be honest with you, I mean, we're like days away from you just saying screw it. Because if Elon takes over Twitter, then there's no point in any of the other one on the other platforms. They missed their opportunity. You know, like it's just, I think most people actually want, yes, you have the 0.00% of people that want to say whatever, wherever.
Yeah.
Gab will always be home for them. There's also these like blockchain ones too. I can't forget. I tried one too, and it was all people posting the N-word. Not Twitch. It was yeah,
a blockchain social network.
Yeah, I created an account, and they were like, and the first post I got was like, if you don't say the N-word, whatever, and it was like there were thousands of users, and they're like, oh, it's just a meme, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want that screenshot going around, so no, I'm not doing it, even if it is a meme. Chat will probably know. Mastodon's kind of like that. It wasn't Mastodon though.
Yeah.
It was something like Mastodon. Chat will probably get it, but anyway, it was like I installed the app and I immediately uninstalled it. I was like, no way. Like this is where so you have like that group of people, but most people just don't want to be suppressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be fine with Twitter if I didn't get suppressed and they enforce their rules evenly.
Right.
It's not that hard.
Hold on, let me fix. Jesus Christ, the bots are here.
That's good. That means there's people watching.
Oh fuck, I just lost the goddamn super chats because it changed the fucking thing. God damn, I'm sorry, super chatters.
If you go to the in your YouTube backend,
I'm in the backend, and that's where I changed the settings, and it deleted my super chats.
No, if you go to the monetization button on the left. And then, and then across it'll bring up a new thing. It'll say channel monetization, right?
Oh wait.
And then you see overview. If you just said supers, they'll all be there.
Wait. Okay. Hold on. Show me. You said click on monetization where?
On the left. So go to your YouTube studio.
Yep.
And then you got dashboard, content, playlist, right? On the left.
I have stream settings, analytics, viewer activity.
No, go back to your main YouTube studio.
Oh, YouTube Studio. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and it'll be there. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Monetization, then supers. You'll have them there.
I didn't know we could do that. So you're the super duper YouTube guy. All right, cool. I'll pull that up. Yep, I see it right here.
You want to read a couple while you're in there? I mean, I'll give you a minute.
We'll come back to him. Back to him. I see him right here. Oh, fucking awesome! This is great, man. I didn't even know how to do this. So yeah, the thing with the whole tech and alternative social media stuff was I thought that it made sense to maybe wait for Elon to drop the Tesla phone. That way we're not subjected to Google and Apple stores.
Yeah, and that would be a huge thing.
Yeah, and then like, okay, now we control the distribution center, which is the Tesla phone. And now we're on a proprietary device, which isn't Apple or Google controlled. And then now everybody build our apps there. And then now we have a real parallel economy. But you can't really say you're a free speech app and like download my shit on Google.
You can't. Yeah. And you can't. And like, by the way, it's not even like, I mean, you know this, it's like, it's so much worse than that. You got to be like, we don't allow hate speech, whatever that is. That changes every day.
Right.
You can't allow, so it's like, you can allow all the pornog you want, though. You can have all that flowing through, but you can't have mean words. You're 100% right. Like, people call me a Elon fanboy. It's because I know in my lifetime, he's our only hope. Like, you need that kind of money. You need FU money. There's a reason he partnered with T-Mobile. And he has Starlink. Like, you're talking to me on Starlink right now. Like,
am I?
I use Starlink. Yeah, I use Starlink because I'm out in the boonies.
Okay.
So, like, he's got the partnership with T-Mobile. What do you think's going to carry his Tesla phone? He'll use T-Mobile satellites, and like, as long as and the hardware is irrelevant because it's all Android based stuff. People, you saw the iPhone 14 that came out has they already have like huge it undersold. Because people are like, yo, you have me on this hamster wheel, $1,400 phones every year. Maybe I'm cool with my iPhone 13.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm cool with, I don't know, 90 megapixels on my Samsung phone instead of 100. And like, so, and by the way, like for a chance to like have a new marketplace for apps, people will take a worse phone. People will take, as long as it's okay, people will be fine with it. And like that's what I'm waiting for is a Tesla phone with his X app, which is all connected. And
is it going to be 100% proprietary? Or is it going to be a Google phone?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that I don't know if they've said anything. I mean, there's so many great phones that are like, if you look at like the phones that people in China have, they're like 5 years ahead of us, and they're like made by whatever. And he's got lots of connections in China. He could probably get whatever, XYZ corporation there to make him a phone.
That's true.
So like, it would be better if it was just Android based or whatever, but like, it doesn't have to be. If I just had like, and then what they have to do is like, let me use Google Play still, like let me boot into both or something like that. But you're right. Like, I think that they all jumped the gun, and there should be a consolidation between like the free speech side of things have to pick one and populate there, because otherwise they'll all die.
Yeah, because there's all these new networks popping up, like Rumble's one, right? I guess Rumble might win that battle or whatever.
I think they will. They launched monetization, and like my CPM on Rumble last week was about half of what mine is on YouTube. But in 5 years on BitChute, I've never made a penny.
Right. So
it's like, okay, if they're selling ads, that's a real competitor.
Yeah.
They have all their own servers. I think they're all down in Florida. But you're right. I think Rumble came along. They did an IPO not that long ago. They have real money behind them, and they will cannibalize BitChute, Odyssey, whatever these other ones are.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's still a win. Maybe it's not ideal, but it's still a win.
Yeah, because I'm looking at all the different social networks, right? And like even like Minds, right? I'm not a big fan of Minds. I think Minds leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
I was in tech, and Minds is just gold plating, right? And that's just the last thing you want to do when it comes to apps. You actually want.
It just never changed in 5 years either. Like it's just kind of been the same thing. And
it
hasn't really added extra value.
Yeah, and they're working on some things over there, which may or may not help. I'm not allowed to disclose, but
yeah.
But even the new thing that they're coming out with, I'm like, it seems to be like their last ditch effort to make a company out of that, and I don't think it's gonna work because it's just gold plating. And really, you're just making a Facebook clone, and it's just like, well, I might as well just use Facebook because
Well, you ever talk to Bill's a nice guy, like Bill Ottman over there.
Yeah,
very nice guy, has the right motivations, but you're right. It's just another Facebook, a worse Facebook that I can already say pretty much whatever I want on Facebook, other than like coof stuff. I don't want another Facebook. I'm done with Facebook.
Yeah. So my thing is, before I leave YouTube or Twitter, I want to see who wins. And then after you win, I'll go there, right? Like after the Rumble Odyssey battle, whoever wins that, then I'll join, right? Or if somebody incentivizes me to join. In the meantime, it's just like, you can't offer me what YouTube's offering me as far as discoverability is concerned. And you ain't cut me no deals, you haven't promised me anything. So it's just like, there's no really rush for me to do that.
There's a number that I would be a Rumble exclusive guy. There's incentives that exist, if they want to pay it, but otherwise, until you get your monetization in order, until you get your discoverability in order, like you can't tell me go to Rumble when I get 300 views a video and I average 150, on YouTube. Like, no, I'm not gonna, but so holler at me when you build the audience and when you can pay, and then I will. Yeah.
And also, some of the features that YouTube has flushed out, as such as super chats.
They're adding a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, YouTube has added memberships, et cetera, which is sort of the locals model. But yeah, there's a long way they have to go, and I'll just sit back and watch. I'm not a late adopter. I'm a early watcher.
Yeah, right. You have your finger on your pulse. When there's new networks that come up, I go create my account and then I chill.
Yeah.
You know, I scoop up my account to make sure no one else can, and I cyber squat on it until there's, you know, a reason not to.
I don't even do that. Somebody wants my at, like my at on Snapchat has been taken, and I'm just like, okay, I'm Hotep Jesus too.
Yeah, I used to have the quartering on Instagram, and I forgot the password.
Yeah.
And like I tried so many times, just gave up, and now I'm like quartering YT something. I'm like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. Like, you know, if somebody, I feel like if somebody doesn't steal my at, I'm not famous enough.
Fair enough. Yeah. Oh, someone got it. Okay, cool.
Cool. Yeah, you get to be me,
compliment.
Right? Yeah. And if the network gives a damn about me, they'll get my at from me, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like Gab got my at from me, right?
Yep.
That's good customer service. Thank you, Andrew Torba.
Yeah.
And he verified me. I love that. And Gab is my primary alternate network right now.
As it should be. There's really no other. There's no point in spending time anywhere else,
right?
Because they're all flashes in the pan.
Yeah. Kyle Rittenhouse. What's going on with that? I saw your video earlier on Kyle Rittenhouse. Main thing I want to talk about is you said the right grifting off the poor kid.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I think everyone has. I think the thing with Kyle is like, this is an unpopular opinion, like in my space. The right really wanted that kid to be like a, you know, hero.
Yeah.
But he's just a dopey 18-year-old kid.
Right.
He doesn't know what the heck's going on. You know, he is not a free speech guy. He's not a 2A guy. He's just a kid who was, you know, in a place where, as I word it, and this gets people like upset, but it's just my belief. He was in a place he shouldn't have been where he legally defended himself.
Okay.
Like, I don't think that he was beyond his legal scope, but like, you're 18 years old, just stay home. That's what I would have liked for him.
Okay.
But like, I supported him, you know, I wanted him, I didn't think he was guilty. I thought, you know, but like everybody grifted off that kid. Joe Biden grifted off him, calling him a white supremacist. Again, he's just a kid. He's not a free speech warrior. And then like TPUSA had him come out, and the kid's just so awkward. He's got this girl now who wears a ton of makeup, who's got him on her TikToks. And like,
he's so he got a little hottie grifting off him too.
She's got a lot of makeup. I made some sort of comment about it, and then I guess he got upset, but I mean, I'm just trying to help the kid out. Like, man, like everybody wants a piece of you. How many fundraisers has he put together? How many lawsuits has he filed? 0. I mean, like, there's been a lot of money poured in there. And I don't blame him at all. It's like, he's just a kid, and like, he wasn't the 2A warrior that the right wanted him to be. I wish him the best. He started a YouTube channel. Good for you. Gun channel. Don't know why he did that. That's not going to work for him either. Like, he should just have a channel, like maybe just being himself. Maybe that will work for him. He's not a gun expert. He, you know, he's not a 2A expert. He started a gun channel because yet another person probably told him this is what you should do.
Right.
So I wish him the best, but I've been consistently disappointed with the people around him that, you know, he's got civil lawsuits he's dealing with. You know, where's all this money going that was fundraising from? And they had no transparency at his last fundraising website. Like, you just put money in, didn't tell you how much it was raised. I always think that's sketch. Like, if you're fundraising, then you should be transparent on how much money you've raised.
Right.
I just think that's fair.
They Sean Kingdom.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like, I wish him the best. I you know, he wanted to be a nurse. This is what every 18-year-old does. I want to go to college. I want to be a nurse. I want to I want to be a lawyer. I want to do. He's not a hero. He's just a kid.
Yeah.
I wish that the right would stop using him for like, you know, ooh, conservative 2A politician takes selfie with Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, just let the kid, you know, let him be. That's, you know, my opinion on him anyway.
That's fair. That's fair. Alex Jones and his lawsuit. Was the lawsuit fair? $1 billion?
A one on a zillion. I mean, you know, when you compare it to some of the biggest lawsuits in the world ever,
yeah,
Equifax leaking everybody's social, what was it, their credit score, their credit information, all these companies, Exxon Valdez, you know, with the oil spills, nobody has ever been fined this much. So it
2008
about
housing crisis.
the mortgage companies behind the bubble flop was, I mean, it was not nothing, but it was nowhere near $1 billion. I think only one person even went to jail for that. It felt weird. Here's my my position on it. This is gonna sound cold, but do you really deserve 100? Like, oh, you looked out the payments, right? Well, they broke out all the payments. Like, this family got this, 115 million, 90 million, 200 million, because somebody came and like was mean on your Facebook post. Like, that's what the now again, Alex Jones was wrong, and these people did suffer harassment because of him being wrong. Okay, they deserve something. Okay, 100 million, 40 million for somebody who wasn't even, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it just doesn't feel right. Like, if he had to pay every one of those families $100,000 even, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense.
mm-hmm.
But what's $90 million? What's that going to do? First of all, you're never getting it. Second of all, like, it's not bringing your kid back. Sorry, I know that sucks. And it's cruel to say, but it's just, so like, $90 million for what? Well, it's to make him go away. Yeah. It's to take everything. And again, just so everyone who's clipping hears, I believe he was wrong. He admitted he was wrong. And I also believe that a judgment would be in order because it kind of fits the textbook, like harassment, defamation stuff. Like if I said, hey man, you know, hey, Hotep is lying, and then people start showing up at your house because of my video, you would be able to sue me, rightfully so. But like,
what's your net worth, just in case?
I'm dead broke.
Damn.
Yeah, sorry, I just lost everything in a tragic boating accident. I thought it was weird that like it just is like, man, come on,
yeah.
Like, and plus, by the way, if you made it a reasonable amount, the families might actually get paid. So if it was about that, then you should have awarded a reasonable amount that could actually be paid.
Right.
It wasn't about that. It was about burying him, making a statement. You know, as far as I know, CNN hasn't had to pay for all their various Russiagate and the PIS dossier and all this stuff that they lied.
And the pandemic.
You know, yeah, the pandemic, all the things, all the misinformation that they spread by their own definitions. You know, Washington Post never had to pay for nothing. Fox News didn't have to pay for anything. But Alex Jones, this dude's got to pay $1 billion. All the newspapers that ran with the WMDs so that all the parents could send their 18-year-old kids to go die in the desert for oil. None of them got sued. And it's like, when you put all these things together, some of the worst fleecings that have ever happened in this country from a media. But Alex Jones?
Yeah.
A bill, like, I don't know. I
think it was a message. It was a message to anybody aligned on the right to say, hey, look, you know, you are an enemy and we will come after you. We will destroy your life.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that is what it was ultimately. I mean, that's what the settlement was about.
Right.
I don't know about the original lawsuits may have started like, you know, from what I didn't follow every little bit of the trial, but I am aware of the defendants. And it's like a couple of yahoos, like the one guy they put on the press thing was like, oh, I put a memorial up to my daughter on Facebook, and some yahoos came on there and was saying, you know, it was all fake and whatever. $100 million for that, bro? You should see what people say to me every day.
For real.
I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know. He should have paid something rightfully because they were able to attach the harassment to his audience and his stuff, but it wasn't about that. And it was never about that. He didn't get a fair trial at all either. That judge was a joke.
Yeah.
That judge was a joke. At least pretend. At least pretend to care.
Right. I think.
Or, I mean, sorry, pretend to be impartial.
Impartial,
That's
right,
what I meant.
right,
Yeah,
right.
that's what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
meant.
I know
Yeah.
what you meant. Yeah.
She cares. That was for sure.
I think they set a precedent, and we saw that recently with Kanye West and
Same thing,
the
right?
alleged lawsuit, $250 million from George Floyd's family.
The brother gave $2 million unsolicited
To the family.
to the family. And now it's just like, man, some people really are just trash. Like, this dude gave you $2 million, all right? I think it was for kids' college fund or some insane amount of money.
Yeah.
And now you want 250. By the way, you can't defame the dead, so they ain't winning that lawsuit. But like, humanity never ceases to disappoint me. Like, at any turn, it's like, oh, okay. So now I'm supposed to believe you're all broken up about it, but you want more money. You got $2 million. Your family, he was buried in a solid gold casket. You never have to worry about money again. And now you're like, oh, Kanye West said something we don't like about him, so we're gonna
250 million. And that number, I think, was inflated because of the Alex Jones case. Like, oh, $1 billion? Oh, we could definitely get a $250,000 from
Yeah,
Ye.
come on. Yeah, at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll never win that lawsuit. Some scumbag ambulance chaser probably told them, like, hey, he'll just settle. If Ye is smart, he won't settle, and he's going to take back that other $2 million he gave to him. If there's any way, shape, or form, he can do it.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, anytime money gets involved with this kind of stuff, it makes me question what motivates somebody.
Indeed.
Like, do you really care?
Right.
Do you care about that? Or if I said that, I mean, 1 million people said what Ye said about him. They ain't suing them.
Yeah. And who starts the conversation? Obviously, the attorney that's going to get a cut.
Yeah.
He's seen it. He goes, hey, family, I can get you paid. It's not like
Right.
the family called their attorney.
No, yeah, exactly. That's not how it went. Someone called them, was like, hey, you don't have to do nothing. I'm just going to file this lawsuit. Like, they're not getting paid. And Ye better, don't fail me, dude. Like, do not give these people any more money. Please.
I want to see how he spins that. Last topic, then we can go to super chats. Ukraine. You support the war in Ukraine?
Absolutely not.
No?
No.
Wow.
No, dude. I don't support any foreign wars that aren't protecting my own borders. Like, and this, in my opinion, the Ukraine, it's just a proxy war. I mean, you want another question? Ask me who I think, ask me how I think that hole got made in the pipeline. I wonder who did that. But like, I don't know. I absolutely don't support it. It's like, man, we just got out of Afghanistan and you just couldn't wait. You just couldn't wait to start another war. Man, let's get right on there. No, but the American people will be okay with it. We'll just spend all their children's money. We'll burn through billions of dollars. We can't build a wall to protect our borders, but we can send $100 billion to the very same people that our mainstream media was calling literal Nazis 2 years before. But, people don't remember that. If you remember the headlines about the Ukrainian leadership, at the mainstream media was not very fond of them. But now it's like, oh, yeah, let's give them $100 billion. Yeah, I mean, come on, Putin. Putin. I'm supposed to be scared of Putin? That's the other thing that's really exposed, man. I'm telling you, which is it? Is Putin the world's most scariest evil villain? Dude can't even take over 20 square miles of Ukraine. He's got old geriatrics. They're talking about they're getting homeless people and geriatrics to serve in his military. For the last 10 years, you told me Russia was the big bad.
Yeah.
What are they doing? Like, so no, I 100% don't support it.
I had Seb Gorka on last week, and Seb told me that Putin's a bully, and we have to support Ukraine. and Putin is the one behind Nord Stream pipeline because it was a false flag operation.
Well, that sounds like some sweet war propaganda to me. You know what we have to do? Freaking nothing. We don't have to do anything. I like.
But Putin's a big bully.
Fine. When he invades when dude wants to roll up on New Jersey, I'll arm up for you and I'll come over and we'll defend. But like, I can't stand. I'm dead serious. The number one reason I voted for Donald Trump is because he said no more foreign wars. Mm-hmm. That was I didn't care about any of the, clam grabbing, any of that. I didn't care. No more foreign wars. I was to give a tiny bit of context, that I was 18 when 9/11 happened. Okay. So a lot of my friends signed up to go die in the desert for WMDs. Okay. And like, I never, ever wanted, send young men and women nowadays to go die for oil in other countries. It's ridiculous. We have a massive veteran homeless problem. We have our VA needs help. We don't take care of our soldiers when they come home. We have homeless problems. We have a border security problem. We have all these problems. Like, let's just go. We didn't have, how many billion do they need for the wall? 3? Don't have it. Well, here's 100 billion. Ukraine. Oh, America, you got terrible inflation. Yeah, that sucks. But we got to stop Putin. Like, this is like another one of those like touchy topics that I've just stopped giving a crap about. Like, yeah, I have Ukrainian viewers and I tell them, I love you as a viewer, but not a dime more. Never should. And never mind the fact that freaking Hunter's got all the stuff over there. Really makes the noggin gets that noggin jogging. But like, oh my God, I can't stand it. Like, no, the United States does not need to be the world police. It's half the reason we get all these people who, blow themselves up because of the things that we do in foreign policy. Mm-hmm. Right. So like, I'm not going to go Hassan and say America deserved it, but I'm saying like, this is, we're meddling in all these other countries. This is why they hate, the United States. So
what do you think, what do you think happens in that region after we pull out, or stop the aid, or the war is stopped? And I give you what I think will happen.
Yeah.
I think what's going to happen is there's going to be, the Nazis are going to end up with a whole bunch of weapons, and then we're going to have to go back out there. We're going to have to fight Nazis in like 10, 20 years.
You're exactly right. There's somebody posted this picture on Twitter of like this woman carrying like a RPG, a $30,000 RPG. I'm like, what the heck does she have that for? I'm like, how much? Yeah. And same thing's going to happen in Afghanistan. We left the Taliban with freaking billions of dollars of top tier U.S. military equipment. What do you think they're going to do to those neighboring countries when they start having some problems with them? Yeah. Like, it's insane that we spent all this money arming them. Now we got Iran giving Russia kamikaze drones, which is a new late development. So what, now we have to start fighting Iran too? Like Joe Biden's in all those war hawks just in the White House, like furiously masturbating the idea to be able to start another conflict with Iran too. So like, no, I am in this particular case there's not, in my lifetime, there hasn't been a thing that I think like, oh man, America should really get involved. Let somebody else. How about this? Can we get a break? Can someone else handle it one time? One time. What is Europe doing? Europe is in their freaking backyard. What are they doing? Nothing.
It feels like history's repeating itself.
Well, yeah, right. We're just doing it all. We're from one endless war to another. Yeah. And it's like, what's the end game here? The United States mobilizing against Russia? Right. That's the only end game.
Yeah.
So, just get after it, Joe. That's what you want.
Let's go, Joe. Let's go, Joe.
Where's Russia? I just want my ice cream. No serious boyfriends till you're 30 now, little girl.
My homegirl Lauren's in the chat. She's a big fan of yours. She was very excited when she found out we were going to do this interview.
Oh, right on.
Lauren, did it meet your expectations? I hope it did. I hope we did a good job tonight. She's having fun. She's saying you're.
What do you hate? Wait. Okay, wait. It sounds like we might agree on Ukraine thing. I just want to get your take on it.
Huh?
It sounds like we might kind of. What do you think?
No, let's support Putin, and Putin's a bully. And
yeah, okay.
Viva Zelensky, okay?
Yeah, right. The Hollywood actor.
He was a comedian, okay? He was a comedian.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, he's the best leader of our time. And they had, I love all the pictures of Ukrainian politicians who were leaving with literal suitcases of USD. Like they had like suitcases of US dollars and like dark chocolate for whatever reason. I remember seeing these. I'm like, yeah, cool. Homeless guy, we got 8,000 homeless in Milwaukee. We can't, it's going to be a wintertime. We can't house them. But yeah, here you go. Foreign country. And where did the money go? I don't know. We gave him 50 billion. You had this dude, Zelensky, being like, we talking about preemptive strikes against Russia. Get him out of here. Like, get out of here with that. You got to do another Vogue photo shoot with your wife, bud, and go talk to Ben Stiller more.
You know what kills me is black folks who talk about reparations who are all for, supporting Ukraine. And I'm like, like, yo, Zelensky got your reparations, dog.
Yeah, he got him.
Literally. All Biden said, yeah, we'll take a look at it. We'll pass a bill to take a look at it.
Yeah, we might refund your student loans too, maybe.
Maybe.
But my favorite meme about the student loans one was the people finding out that was a taxable income.
Was it?
Yeah, they taxed it.
No way.
So they'd be like,
you got to pay taxes on that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. That's worse than when Biden said, we're going to forgive all the people for marijuana possession or federal marijuana possession.
Yeah, 7 of them. All 7 of them, huh? Oh my God, I about to fell out of my chair when people are like, yeah, and by the way, I'm a legalizing guy, just so we're clear.
Right.
But like, dog.
Like nobody goes to federal prison.
Nobody.
For possession.
Unless you cross state lines with an eighth or like a quarter sack, you cross the state line and it was like your 3rd offense.
Yeah.
Like there's nobody in prison for that.
Yeah. It's all for distribution. Like possession, like no, that shit usually gets knocked down into a misdemeanor.
They're not putting you in federal prison over weed. It just doesn't happen.
Oh my God. Let's go to super chats, man. David Zientara, appreciate you, bro. Tony the Gunslinger, he said, yo, shout out to these 2 Griff Kangs, 2 of my favorite people. We out here. What up, bro?
I appreciate it, yeah.
Art Dog, he said, for my Tuesday night homeschooling session, appreciate you, man.
Hey, yeah.
David Fox, hey, Jeremy, Uncle Hotep, didn't want Don Lemon playing an elf either. What does that mean?
I think he's talking about Lord of the Rings, that Amazon TV show. The guy literally looks like Don Lemon. It's cracked. If you can't unsee it.
Yeah, Uncle Hotep says, man, I don't want no niggas in Middle Earth.
Man, for years I read all these articles though that said the orcs were black people. I read all these articles from white people that said Tolkien's actually secretly racist because the orcs are black. I'm like, wait a minute. Let me just unpack this for you. So I'll be real quick. You look at orcs and see black people, huh? That's pretty.
It says everything right
I mean,
there.
I never have thought that if you Google that orcs racist, there are probably a dozen articles written in the last 2 years. It's like, no, you look at orcs and think that. No, you're racist. I mean, that's okay. At least you admit it.
That's wild. Inside of the Ages said Poe kids are just as smart as white kids. Oh man, I remember when Biden said that. Yo, I don't know how people voted for this guy, man.
Yeah. I don't know either, and I don't even like to think about it because it makes me so sad.
Word. Mountain Man with the big boy super chat.
Oh yeah, he's big. Yeah, he's always big donator.
Hi Hotep, heard of you through Jeremy. Oh, dope. Great to be here. Occam's razor, basically this: all things being considered, the simplest answer tends to be the truth. Okay, so to me, that's a priori.
Okay. How's it a priori? Was that one word?
It's 2 with Latin.
Oh, okay.
which
Okay.
basically means the same thing. So there we just swapped a little bit of knowledge, right?
All right. I got learned.
Yeah. So you got a priori, now I got Occam's razor. Which
I'm gonna use it tomorrow. I'm always whenever I learn a new word, I got to use it right away. Otherwise, I'll forget it.
otherwise you forget it. Yes.
I might make a whole video around it. Just that one word. I'll find a way.
Yeah. So that a priori is my new word. Oh, now I got Occam's razor. So we're gonna interchange them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I felt about the whole pandemic. I'm just like, this is an Occam's razor moment, man. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I don't need to go look up the validity of the inoculation. This shit just sounds stupid.
Yeah. You mean they light it was literally Operation Warp Speed? You want me to put it in my veins? No, thanks, player. I'm good. I'm 100 pounds overweight and I'm still good. I'm fine with that.
And they were like, oh yeah, we want to give it to black people first. And it's like,
the Tuskegee offense. Yeah,
I was like,
black people to the front of the line. I'm like, we've been here before.
I'm like, nah, this is the one time where you can be racist.
Yeah.
You can have my spot in line. I'm good.
Yeah. I'll donate mine too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not putting that stuff in my body. Inside the Ages, great collab. My manifestation energy is on point. Salute to Inside the Ages. Inside the Ages, I also had on last week I had on Dank.
I watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, Dank.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah. Don't you guys have a show together, right?
We do on Wednesdays occasionally when we don't forget. Because he's so I do the show with him and Bering.
Yeah.
So he's +6 and Bering's -6. So it's like midnight for Dank and it's like 6 a.m. for Bering. So usually someone's got something, you know, that's
impossible to make happen.
It's nearly, yeah.
Yeah. Inside the Ages, nuclear would make it too cheap. Ends the oligarch. The oil.
Yes.
He says oligarch. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
That's a good point. I had a gentleman, Mr. Schneider, came on my channel and he was breaking down nuclear energy and he blew my mind as to like Fukushima. He's like, do you realize like that has no effect nearly on the environment? Like it's like 0.002 and it's not going to hurt anything. And I was just like, wow, I didn't know it. But yeah, my mind was blown when he started giving me that information.
The reason people look at Chernobyl and they think that everything would be like that, but that, Chernobyl is that bad because I don't know if you saw the documentary, but they didn't tell anybody. So like it was leaking for days before like even their own people in their own city, the government didn't say anything.
Yeah,
that's why. And I assume we're better at handling that, 50 years later or whatever too.
Yeah. But he also said Chernobyl, like there's grass and trees are growing, like the place is fine, it's inhabited.
Yeah. It's basically, I mean, I think I watched I used to watch this fishing show, allow me to be extraordinarily white here, called River Monsters.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah, Jeremy Wade. Jeremy Wade. Oh, I'm Jeremy Wade. And then I think he went fishing there like 10 years ago. It was like catching fish and the fish didn't have 3 eyes like on The Simpsons or anything. So, I mean, I'm not saying anyone's trying to move back in, but, time heals a lot.
Yeah. You ever watch Naked and Afraid?
Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
I just discovered that and I can't stop watching it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I know they leave out a lot. But it's TV.
It's okay to suspend. It's okay to suspend belief for a little while,
Yeah.
Like just that's the thing. Like I critique a lot of modern. So like here's I don't know we're running out, but I'll share this because it's a nugget I try to share with my viewers. Most of my all-time favorite musicians would probably hate me, but I just like don't care. Like I listen to their music and I enjoy it. And the same with like television and other. Life is short. Like people are like, man, I really want to watch football, but man, it's like, man, just, you know what? Just watch it. Skip the commercials or whatever. Like it's okay to like consume once in a while. Like you can't hate. If you hate everything, like it's a pretty miserable existence. It's,
I had my heart broken. I was a big fan of Black Star.
Okay.
And you know, around Black Lives Matter, I'm exposing Black Lives Matter. And Talib Kweli started following me at the time, and he invited me to his home. So this is a big moment for me. I grabbed.
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal to me, right? Because somebody I looked up to it for a really long time. So I grabbed two of my homies, went to Brooklyn, and they're like, "Wow, we're gonna see Talib." We sit down, we have a 2-3 hour discussion. We're fucking smoking blunts with Talib Kweli.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, the guy's on the internet lying about me, saying things I didn't say in a meeting, and I can't even listen to Black Star no more because it's just
you can't. Well, that's more personal.
Yes,
that's a But like there are like I had like a really I listen to like a lot of like indie or folk music.
Okay,
and I know that's probably shocking, but then like I like. A lot of those bands went through like TDS and like they were doing the whole like, look, I mean, whatever. I don't care who you vote for, but like when like 2 tracks on your 10-track record are like literal Trump derangement syndrome, I'm like, come on, man, this is not going to age well.
Yeah.
Like there are no all-time great records. There will be 0 all-time great records with Trump diss tracks on them. It just will not. And so musically, most of the bands that I listen to are extremely progressive, and like, well, I guess other than country music, maybe there's not a lot of conservative in music industry. Maybe, I don't know. That's probably not a fair assumption. There's probably all sorts, but the I just have to like, I've had a couple of them like block me on Twitter. I'm like, oh, man, you had a new record coming out, and I really wanted to enjoy it, but man, I can only cuck so much. Like I can't give you money now. I just can't.
I remember I loaded up Busta Rhymes album. Huge Busta Rhymes, still a big Busta Rhymes fan.
Yeah.
He was talking bad about the mask. I got the track 2, and then I heard the TDS, and I was just like, I never went back to the album.
Wait, didn't he just pass away?
Who, Busta?
No, not Busta. Who had a heart attack? He was what the hell?
Who?
He's a famous rapper from like that same era in the
Oh
90s.
yeah.
It wasn't Busta Rhymes.
No,
I remember that.
no.
When I heard that dude, he was like the fastest dude I'd ever heard. Like mainstream like rapper, but obviously then it became fast rap. Became a big
Chat, who was it, man? I know you're talking about.
He was too young. He was like, isn't it sad that the first thing I'm like, and this is whatever, I'm always like, I wonder if he has any tweets about getting the jab.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Coolio.
not DMX,
Coolio.
Yeah, Coolio, yeah.
Coolio.
He was younger too.
Yeah.
Young, I mean, to be croaking off.
Right. Harbinger, he said electric vehicles kind of have an expiration date on them.
Yeah.
Steph Colonel, he said there is currently a digital billboard at City Hall in Newark, New Jersey, biggest city in New Jersey, in one of the bluest states, that has a Stop Democrat Bigotry against Hindis. Really?
Interesting.
Wow. Yo, next time I go down there, I'm gonna give me a picture of that. Wow. Steph Colonel, Kanye turned drink champs into drink chumps. Oh my God. Damn.
Well, when you watch that interview, I mean, that dude must really command a room like nobody ever has.
Yeah.
Like they're just, like, I wonder if anyone like maybe should, I don't even know. Like, I don't know if anyone in a room with him like ever interrupts him. Like he just, that can be troubling too, though. That could be not good for you.
Well, they said when he walked in the room, he said, if you guys turn the cameras off on me, I'm going to walk out. That's what he said. So I think they had some fear. I think Nori had some fear of losing the grift.
Okay.
He wanted that content.
Yeah.
And I think I got to blame it on Revolt. Because Revolt cut that snippet of the George Floyd comment and published it as promo for the interview. And when
they knew it would be inflammatory. Yeah, they knew. Yeah, they were submarining it before they ever had a chance.
You know what I'm saying? Because at least, and then they said, so the community was saying there was no pushback. But if you watch the whole interview, Nori did push back on a lot of Kanye's points. And that's what I'm saying. Like, they should have just let the interview come out and let people draw the conclusions. And they might have still clipped that part, right?
Yeah.
But, So what Nori said in the Breakfast Club interview, he said, "Look, we're taking back control of who's cutting the clips because Revolt cut the clips, and I knew that happened. I knew Revolt cut that
okay.
clip.
So he was saying something there without saying something too. Like he was saying, the thing is like a lot of now, I don't know how many people in that room talk about these kind of issues openly or not.
Right.
I imagine dude comes in there like a flamethrower,
Yeah.
and you're just like along for the ride.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm talking about these people, this and this and this. Black people are the real Jews, and then by the way, like at some point you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna sit back because I can't literally stop him. So the idea of like moderate. They did that with one of the worst times. I don't know if you watch this. Like, shout out to Tim. No disrespect, Tim. But when he had Alex on, it was like the worst thing I ever saw because they kept trying to like stop him because they were so afraid that he was going to say something.
Yeah.
And like even Alex was like, and he like pounded the table because they kept cutting him off. So like people that are that wild, you just gotta let them run.
Yeah. You gotta give them free reign, man. Just let them go. Yeah. Damn, I had a point I was gonna make about the it'll come back to me. Inside of Ages, gross how they vied with Ye, then deleted. Coward. Yeah,
every time. Just get used to it. Every time someone stands up against the machine, they're gonna let you down. I could count on, and it would take more than one hand to count on the number of times I put out a video and I was like, yeah, he said it, man. He said it. He's our guy. # our guy. Yeah. And then the next day, I'm like, damn, he folded. Like, right. It's just every time.
I want an invite to the apology tour. I want to clear my name. Can I get an invite to the apology tour? I might be the only person like volunteering for the apology tour. Just so
I'd like to go on Breakfast Club, talk to Charlemagne a little bit.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Vibe, like he's got some he's said some wild things over the years. But he's also said some stuff that's pretty based. Mm-hmm. But like, I remember him shilling for Hillary Clinton. I remember him looking the other way for a lot of Democrat shills. And now he's trying to pretend like he's fighting the power. Like, I see you, man. I know.
He's playing a game.
I listen to the Breakfast Club. In the mornings, watch your YouTube clips. I know what Charlemagne's up to. And like, he is also not # our guy. Well, he's not our guy at all. I mean, he's got some interesting opinions about people of other colors.
He waited till Biden tanked the economy to say Trump was a better option.
Yeah, right. Well, that's because they're all cowards.
Yeah.
His 401k went down a little bit, and now he's like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't have voted. How many people? Here's a fun fact I like to ask people. How many people in the NFL do you think voted for Joe Biden? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, you can't tell me that. You can't tell me that these dudes who are making $100 million. You trying to tell me that Kevin Durant voted for, like, if all we need is a non-flat earther to come out and support somebody other than the establishment and then stand by it.
Yeah.
Durant, not Kevin Durant, Kyrie.
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie could do it, but man, his flat earth stuff, like, if you get off that, then like, I just can't stand it.
Yeah. I remember I was gonna say,
he's also based on the jab, by the way.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Based on a lot.
Yeah.
But the whole drink champs thing, they usually don't talk about politics. And I think
okay. I've never seen the show before.
Yeah, they usually never talk about politics. They usually talk about like hip hop history.
Okay.
But going back to what you were saying about our favorite artists, I usually don't blame them because I know they're in a bubble, and me having my short stint in the music industry, you don't have time to do anything other than the music industry when you're in entertainment, right? So you don't have time to sit down and even start to understand what's happening. So I don't really fault them for their ignorance. I fault them for not being quiet. Like, just be quiet because you haven't done the studies, but don't pick a side when you haven't done the studies.
Yeah, that's why I crack up about it. You know who's kind of close to getting based here and there too? Like, was it Nicki Minaj?
Oh, yeah.
Like, she couldn't be dumber, but like, she's also said like some non-establishment things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Oh, she's so close.
And Cardi B too.
Like, oh, that I might be mixing them up. It's either Cardi B or Nicki Minaj.
You talking about Cardi?
Like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, man, she's right there.
When
Like,
she started talking about New York taxes.
yeah. Like once you start pay, that's what I mean. Like you start paying those taxes, you get pretty woke on the reality pretty quick. Let me ask you this. I know we're wrapping up, but somebody challenged me on so I've often excused Ye's like his kind of like rants as like a manic state, pseudo manic or maybe actually manic. And so then I try to excuse and say like, okay, well, maybe you shouldn't have said like, oh, these people are controlling me. But like, I'm trying to say like, oh, his mind works too fast for his mouth. But then I think it was, I was on a podcast, I think it was Sargon on Sunday or something. He said, now hold on a minute. How do you think it feels? So he countered me saying, hey man, like he said some crazy stuff, but he's also some base stuff. He says, how do you think it feels to be like one of the richest men in the world, and in particular, a rich black man who everyone around you is calling you crazy. Everybody around you gaslights you 24/7. Like, wouldn't that make you crazy? Like the dude pays his taxes, right? The dude has employees. The dude like, and then everybody around from the Kardashians to the music industry, or whatever, they're all like, no, like, no, this isn't it. You're crazy. You're crazy. That, he says, is like, that is enough to drive a man crazy. And I was like, oh man, maybe let me think about that for a minute, because there's something there maybe.
Yeah, when it comes to Ye, it's really hard for me to view him as other people view him, because I'm that guy. I'm the guy who has been canceled for my opinions since high school.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
okay.
In high school, I was the guy who didn't hang out with the jocks, didn't hang out with the cool kids. I hung out with the geeks, but I still got girls, right?
Yeah.
I still had swag. I still played sports. But it was because I wasn't really willing to conform. I was used to being canceled. I was used to having the opinion where I think for myself, I'm not going along with the popular thing just because it's popular, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, kind of corny. Like, you know, like I'm looking at the black kids in my school and I'm like, y'all not that cool, because I hang out in the hood. Like every summer, I got to spend the summer in the hood at grandma's house. And I know real thug niggas. They my cousins. So when I come back to the suburbs and I see y'all acting and pretending, I'm like, y'all not the real thing, you know? And the other thing is, I'd go to the hood and I'd come back with the hood vernacular. And they'd be like, yo, what are you talking about? Why are you using all these words? And then 6 months later, they're using the words. And I'm like,
oh yeah, then they out themselves. Yeah.
I'm like, yo, you're late, bro. Like, like when I came back, I was saying shit like, yo, word is bond. Word is bond. And they're like, why do you keep saying word is bond? What are you talking about? 6 months later, everybody's walking around saying word is bond. And I'm just looking at you like, y'all corny. Y'all late.
You heard it on a rap song now that it's like made its way from the streets to the records, you know, and that's where they hear it, right? Yeah.
So you know, college did my own thing. Internet did my own thing. Twitter completely ostracized when I went against Black Lives Matter from day one.
Yeah, that's got to be a different kind of heat.
What? Like before there was even a Trump, Hotep Jesus wasn't even Hotep Jesus. I was out in Black Lives Matter. I was like, there's still a video. Like every time Sean King is outed, people like surface this video. Like when my dreads are like this short.
Dates, yeah,
So
right.
it like dates the video, let you know how old it is. Then I'm outing these people. So and so some people have said like, yo, how come you haven't got suspended? And it's because there's like a huge wall between me and that side of Twitter, because everybody blocked me before Trump became elected. So my tweets don't even make it to that side of Twitter.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like,
so you relate to that then a little bit. So on a similar scale, because like honestly, like you can't even say his day-to-day life is different than your day-to-day life, because it's all relative.
Yeah,
You know,
his
so
is
like
actually a higher scale, right? Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, like, still important people in your life are important people in his life. And when they're telling you, like, hey, man, you can't be saying this stuff, or hey, man, maybe, you know, you're crazy, like,
Yeah.
I imagine that wears someone down,
It made me
and
crazy.
very few people, well, that's why so many people conform, you know,
My
it's like,
family, dude, don't you know when I get around family, they got to give me a disclaimer?
no.
If it's Thanksgiving, one of the family members has to pull me aside and say, hey, can you not talk about politics today?
I mean, look, I actually support that, but if someone else starts it, then I'm not holding my tongue. I used to,
yeah.
but like now I'll do like that thing where I'm like, yeah, okay. $200 fill up your gas tank this week, huh? That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good, huh? Like,
Yeah.
I do that stuff, and then it's just like, you know, it's I try to, like, you know, keep the peace. I don't see family very often because it's like I can only take so much of that.
Mhm.
Like, you know, my dad is a blue no matter who guy.
Mhm.
He's a union guy, and you know, I love him. You know, I'm not changing his mind. You know, but like they were so scared during the lockdowns, like they didn't want me to come over. Like, you don't have that, don't come over. I'm like, and then the first Christmas afterwards, when they were all poked up, you know, look, my parents are old. My dad has COPD. I think totally fine with him getting it. But I didn't go the next year. I was like, hey, man, you don't like me. You don't love me at my worst. You know, I was, you know, then I'm not rolling with you on Christmas. I'm going to just stay home and do my own thing. Mm-hmm. And then I got the coof that year for Christmas anyway. But like, you know, it was like, it was weird. Family can be weird. Like, I hate that. It's just a rule that I have in my house. Like, no politics unless you want dinner to stop, unless you want me to.
And I think that's a terrible rule, because that's why the Democrats are able to hold so much power, is because when I look at other groups, for example, let's say the Indian communities, a lot of Indians here in New Jersey, I know when they get together,
Indian, not Native American Indians, right?
India,
like Indians. Yeah, okay,
there's no such thing as Native American Indians. Indians are from India.
Okay, gotcha,
right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So when they
that's
get
that's what I meant.
Yeah. When they get together, I know they're talking politics.
Yeah.
They're coming up with a political strategy for their people, and they're all family. When we get together as Black folks, we don't have that conversation. Therefore, we get destroyed in the political conversation because we haven't sat down to figure out, where do we align politically and what issues do we align on? And then how do we vote according to those issues? We can't have those conversations. We will always get dominated by the Democrat Party.
That's fair. Yeah.
So I think those things need to happen, and I want to change that culture. Where are we at here? I'm reading right off this thing you showed me, man.
Refresh it. Make sure you refresh the page.
I just did.
Okay.
Yeah. Inside the Ages, gross. How do you? Oh yeah. Markel, donations. Appreciate the hustle, bro. Been a huge help for a dude on the road as much as I am. Dope. I'm doing call-in shows during the day now too, so those are getting better as well. I'm getting better at this, man. I'm not exactly the quartering, but I'm getting better. Infamous NYC. The problem is always the same: an old generation making choices they won't live long enough to have to deal with. Just look at the monetary policy. Real talk.
Yeah.
I wrote a book about monetary policy, The Patriot Report, Unmasking the Conspiracy of Money and War. Go get your copy right now at hotepjesus.com. CT, great conversation with two of my faves. Jeremy, get yourself a Curter burger before they're gone from Culver's, best in the Midwest.
Oh, okay. I mean, Culver's in the Midwest. Culver's is king.
Okay.
Fast food joint.
Got you. Orion Galaxy found you when Amazing Lucas had you on his channel, Hotep. It's a pity how he fell from grace. I love Amazing Lucas.
I don't know. I never know how to read him because people were like, "Oh man, he's based. Now he's not based." So sometimes people's opinions change, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So I got nothing against the guy. I wish him the best.
I have a rule. I don't pass judgment on anybody until I have a conversation with them.
Yeah, fair.
When we meet and we talk and I can feel your energy, then I can start passing some sort of judgment, because we still haven't hung out for the weekend. That's a whole nother level of getting to know somebody, right? Like you ain't, hanging out at Hotep Con. You really get to know somebody. But yeah, and please, can y'all please reach out to Amazing Lucas? I'll go on his channel. He can come to my channel. It don't matter. I love him. I love Amazing Lucas. I love what he does. Spider-Man is the man. He's dope. I know he went super black supremacist or something like that, but I want to talk to him about it. Maybe there's something there. Maybe there's not. I don't know. I want to talk to him. The Quartering's links are in the description box below. Don't you got some coffee? Yeah,
it's delicious coffee, tea and cocoa made right here in the United States of America.
Oh, wow.
And if people want, at least go to the website at coffeebrandcoffee.com. Just read the reviews. I don't have to tell you beyond that. Mm-hmm. If you're a coffee or a tea person, check that out. It's just trying to build something outside of YouTube, build my own little parallel economy.
Yeah.
It'll be a great day when I see somebody like out in the wild drinking the coffee I walk up to, I have this fantasy where I see somebody like drinking out, they got the coffee brand coffee mug. They're just like drinking it. And I'm like, I give them and they're like, who are you? And I'll be like, yes, somebody just bought the coffee who doesn't know my channel and likes it. That'll be a nice success measurement.
I got a surprise for you.
Oh yeah,
I'm coming out with a product too.
Oh yeah,
and it pairs well with yours.
Oh boy, I feel like ultimate supreme grift coming up here.
Oh, I feel the grift coming.
Yeah,
absolutely. We might have to throw together a package bundle or something like that.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, but I got a new product, ladies and gentlemen. I got a new product coming out. Look for it. Just waiting for the physical product to reach my guy Alex in Canada, so we can get some content creation going, and it'll be on Amazon. You'll be able to get it from our store, etc., etc. And we'll do some pairing. We'll do some pairing with the
yeah.
Absolutely. Hey man, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the Quartering. He's got about 500 million subscribers on YouTube, roughly, or something like that.
Roughly. Yeah. When you get as big as me, you kind of stop counting. I really appreciate you having me on. I thought this conversation was a lot of fun and was enlightening for me. And I don't get to have these kind of conversations very often because, normally people are like, can you come on my podcast? I'm like, when? 4:00. Nope. Because I'm like on the grind all day.
Yeah.
So when you're like 10 o'clock, I'm like, shit, I'll be there. Like 10 o'clock, I'm good. It's a wind down time for me.
Yeah.
So, I know I really appreciate you having me on, and I had a lot of fun. So I hope people enjoyed the show, and we'll do it again. Yeah.
Yeah. You were highly requested. I checked out your content and I was like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. I definitely want to learn from him, pick his brain, and just swap knowledge. And it was an amazing conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been another amazing conversation, another sharp conversation with Hotep Jesus. This conversation in audio format will exist on Spotify and Apple Podcasts in the coming days. I got to let it cook on YouTube for a little bit, but it will be, just type in Hotep Jesus on Spotify or Hotep Jesus on Apple Podcasts. Also, the RSS feed is coming straight from SoundCloud. The Dank interview is up, and the Ian Crossland interview is up, and I'll be uploading all the old ones as well. So make sure you go subscribe. Leave me a beautiful review on Apple Podcasts or whatever it is that we do over there.
5 stars.
Yeah, hit me off with the 5-star jump off, and we're working hard over here. And ladies and gentlemen, I will see you again soon. I am Hotep Jesus. If it's your first time here, please hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Until the next time, Hotep and Build. All right. Oh shit! I hit the wrong exit. Hold on, y'all. I hit the wrong exit.